Hello everyone, I am Michael Ajimanji, the leader of Group 9. As you know how predominant and significant logic and critical thinking is, quintessentially in our daily activities, for our personal growth and the benefit of everybody in every part of the world.
Today, we are here to present on the topic, if critical thinking is so critical to development, why do people, even educated, find it so difficult to think critically? Critical thinking is an important skill that helps individuals to analyze information. Therefore, critical thinking is a self-directed and disciplined process of thinking in which individuals deliberately analyze, evaluate, and interpret information to reach reasonable conclusions.
The paradox of critical thinking is that people believe they can think rationally and objectively. Their judgment is often influenced by emotion, personal experience, and biases. And thesis statement is the paper argued that critical thinking is essential skill for decision making, solving problems, and arrive at well-reasoned conclusions.
The case for critical thinking. Policymakers and scholars promote critical thinking because they think it is essential for national development and also effective citizens. First of all, it promotes economic competitiveness. It helps the people to solve problems on their own and adapt to the modern workforce. Second, it promotes democratic governance. It helps the people to evaluate information and resist misinformation.
Why policymakers and scholars insist critical thinking is essential to development. Citizens must evaluate policy claims, distinguish fact from false or inaccurate information, and engage responsibly in public affairs. By Brookfield, 2012. To begin with, it helps the economy. Critical thinking is one of the topmost skills needed today. Countries with critical thinkers grow faster and adjust better to change. Also, it protects democracy. Voters need clear thinking to spot lies and make good choices when they vote. Again, it helps country develop. People who question things and understand facts help build better policies for everyone.
Moreover, let's dive into the cognitive and psychological barriers people thinking critically. Now, human beings are not naturally objective thinkers, for sure. And there are several cognitive limitations that can hinder critical thinking in our society. According to the heuristics aspect of this concept, and from the works of Kahneman, 2011, people often seek for mental shortcuts to make decisions quickly. These mental shortcuts of the heuristics approach, however efficient it is, can create systemic or systematic errors in judgment. So now, let's dive into the confirmation bias of this factor. People tend to seek evidence that support their existing beliefs, while denying or rejecting contradictory information. This bias tends to ignite or reinforce preconceived opinions and limit open-minded inquiry. This is referenced from Nickerson, 1998.
I would like to talk about education and social barriers to critical thinking. Critical thinking is shaped not only by psychology, but also by external structures. Society and schools often rewards obedience and discourage questioning. Creating informed but uncritical minds. Will also like to talk about social conformity, peer pressure and cultural norms, silent dissenting voice, making question unpopular. Let's say I'm in a group of friends whereby a lot of things are happening and one has seen this what is going on. For in order for her to question us or tell us to change the way we are, she will just keep quiet in order to fit in the group.
So I'm presenting on education and social barriers. And under education and social barriers, we have root learning culture and then authority differences. So when we talk of authority differences is whereby it's a habit or a practice where an individual agrees to everything somebody says due to the power or authority or position the individual who made the decision has. So example is maybe you go into your grandma's home. You see, you can't really take grace to your grandma's home because of the traditional value. So you can't really question why your grandma doesn't really understand why you actually made grace to her. So you have to conform to her rules, right? And when you talk to the route learning culture, which is locally termed as the chew and pour method, it is defined as the repetition of facts rather than learning with a critical thinking. It has advantages and then disadvantages. The disadvantages is it limits the students' creativity. When students continue to memorize stuff rather than learning, it limits their creativity, which is helping them solving problems. It limits it. So when we move to the advantages of the route learning culture, we have foundational recall and standardized access, and we also have cultural context.
In so many societies, people are taught not to question elders, teachers, and other authority figures. As a result of this, people tend not to ask questions or share opinions, even when they have good ideas. This can make it difficult to develop social and critical skills. According to Brookfield Stephen D., all this can influence critical thinking skills.
Why education does not guarantee critical thinking? The paradox of the educated non-thinker, credentialism versus intellectual humility. What is credentialism? Well, credentialism simply focuses on acquiring degrees and certifications as proof of knowledge. It often emphasizes on rote learning and memorization. And with this, it gives no room for questioning or analyzing information deeply. Intellectual humility, on the other hand, is a recognition of the limit of one's own knowledge and openness to new ideas and perspectives. It requires self-awareness, willingness to question one's own beliefs. It encourages broadening one's own horizon. Carol Dweck, renowned for her work on the growth mindset, she emphasizes that intelligence and abilities are not fixed traits, but can be developed through learning and persistence. According to her, people who believe intelligence is malleable are more likely to embrace changes and challenges and learn from their own mistakes. This can lead to individuals who are very well educated on paper but lack the ability to think critically, challenge assumptions, or create new ideas.
Harold S. Dweck argued that adopting a growth mindset encourages critical thinking by motivating people to embrace challenges, reflect on feedback, learn from mistakes, and continuously improve their reasons and problem-solving skills. This is a fair interpretation of her work, but it is best not to present it as direct quotes because Dweck is known for her research on growth mindset, but rather than defining critical thinking itself.
Good day, everyone. I'm in a person of a JLNG, and I would like to continue with the pathways for it to critical thinking. Critical thinking also requires curiosity, logical reasoning, problem solving, and the willingness to change opinions when new information is presented. By practicing these skills, individuals become better at understanding issues and making informed judgments.
According to Richard Paul and Linda Elder, pathway to critical thinking is the process of analyzing and evaluating information to improve our decisions. This includes questioning the information, gathering information, looking from different perspectives, and avoiding assumptions by being open-minded. We can improve our ability to analyzing problems and form reasonable conclusions.
In the nutshell, I want to remind you that critical thinking is the disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, analyzing, applying and evaluating information to reach well-justified conclusions. Let us actively take part in this decision making. Let us actively utilize critical thinking in our daily lives, because when you consider it and put it into action, it is going to improve our lives, and ultimately society will get better. See, around the world, things are getting destroyed, and policies that seem powerful and profound are oftentimes not able to be put into action or developed or well established. I think that when critical thinking is really taken in place, it will help improve society's lives generally. Thank you for your time listening to us. We appreciate everything. God bless you.